The first of the advanced functions we'll be going over is the regular expression generator. Regular expression, or regex in short, is what's known as a string pattern matching language. Normally, users of regex define a collection of operators in order to match values in a large collection of text. For instance, regex is often used to filter down large documents for searching things such as specific dates, words, or patterns. A logical example would be as if you were trying to summarize the contents of a history book, in which you can use regex to find all instances of a date, both BC and AD, which would be very difficult using a traditional search function. In DATPROF Privacy, this process is reversed. Here, we specify a collection of operators to build our pattern, and then we use this pattern to create values which match this pattern. Leading on from our previous example, we can create a pattern to define dates, both BC and AD, and then generate as many random dates as we need for our test data set. This way, the user can create a large number of complex strings to obfuscate existing data or generate synthetic data. The syntax for regex is quite complex, but we'll be going over 3 examples to showcase what's possible. The first example we'll be going over is a static b.a. and then 9 random numbers. The second example would be introducing a grouping and the OR operator, so we'll be flipping a coin and generating either heads or tails. And lastly, we'll be generating a simple email address. Alright, now that we're in privacy, as you can see, we've made a simple project that has a few fields that we can start filling with some regex data. We've got example 1, example 2, and example 3, and all 3 of them are just basic variable character fields. In order to add our value, let's press the add function, generate, scroll all the way down, and then select regular expression. So the examples we've seen earlier in the video, where we see the regex expression itself, you enter those in the regex field here. Let's start with the first example that we've shown in the video. So we're going to be generating b.a. If we were to execute just this, we would run into some issues. This is because if you, for instance, add just the letter B, it would generate B. Just like if we would enter Batman, it would generate Batman for every row. However, some characters in regex have a function, like the dot. The dot in regex means basically any single character. So if we were to execute this, we would get B and then maybe an A or a C or a $sign, etc., etc. So we need to escape this. In order to do this, we add /. Now we would generate B dot for every row. We add the A, add another slash, and we escape the next dot as well. After this, we'll need to add our numeric sequence. To do this, add 2 brackets, type a range of 1 to 9, and then within accolades, we can indicate how many times we want to generate this. In the example, we have 9 characters. Let's do a range. So we'll do minimum of 5 characters, maximum of 9 characters. If we were to do just one number, like for instance 12, it would always generate 12 numbers randomly between 1 and 9. But for this instance, let's do 5, 9. So minimum 5, maximum 9. You can also see here that we have a deterministic generation mode toggle. What this means is if we were to execute this between multiple runs with a table that has a specific original value more than once, for instance, we are replacing names like John, then no matter how many times we execute this run, John will always be replaced by, for instance, b.a.12345. So that's a way to guarantee some consistency between multiple executions. Press OK. Now let's add our second example. Generates, again, scroll all the way down, regular expression. And we need to generate either heads or tails here. So we know from our earlier example that if we were to do, for instance, heads, it would generate heads for every single row. We also want to generate tails. And to do this, we can use the OR operator for regex, which is just a standing line. However, if we were to execute this, we would run into some issues. Because regex doesn't understand which values belong together, it would generate head, and then either an S or a T, and then ales. So we need to group these two values. Do this by adding some brackets. And now it understands there's two sides to this, the contents of this brackets. We have heads and tails. And now if we execute this, it'll randomly generate either heads or tails. Press OK to save this. And lastly, our final example where we generate, go to advanced, select regular expression. And here, this one's a bit more complex. We have to generate letters from a range, A to Z. We have to do this 3 times using the accolade. After this, we have to add a range of digits from 1 to 5. We have to do this 5 times. 5 times. And again, we can specify a range here. We can do 5 to 9 times or 5 to 10 times. We can do this for the letters as well. And after this, we have to add in our domain. So normally we would do @test. Oh, let's do lowercase, test domain. Wow, test domain dot com. However, there are 2 characters here that will be interpreted as an operator for regex that we need to escape. So the symbol and the dot again. After this, we can simply press OK and save our functions. So there's a lot more operators than we've seen here today. There's a lot more options for generating specific types of data, but I encourage you to just try this, follow along, and pull up a cheat sheet for regex and just try out various different things. And you should be able to generate basically any type of data that you might want to generate.